What's up gamers? Welcome to another Hydroneer devlog. Today I'm going to be talking about even more features that are going to be arriving with the DLC coming out on April 5th, Hydroneer Journey to Volcalidus. But before I get into that, don't forget to add it to your Steam wishlist. By adding it to your Steam wishlist, it actually helps us out as well. It pushes it up in the Steam algorithm and exposes the DLC to more people. So if you want to help us out, pause the video right now. And then continue the video. So in the previous video, I talked about some changes that are coming with the launch of this DLC. Now, when this DLC launches, we're gonna be doing a very, very big patch on the base game as well. And today I wanted to show you guys some of those features that are coming in that big patch. Here is a whole list of everything coming in that patch. Now, bear in mind, these patch notes might change before April 5th, but this is where we're at right now. There is a ton of quality of life fixes that we're adding in. Don't you hate it when you're minding your own business in Hydroneer and you go to pick up that pan but realize that there's thousands of resources in that pan? As soon as you pick it up, you've got 2 FPS. Now, this quality of life fix that we're adding in is going to completely solve this. Picking up a pan now full of loads of resources does not affect your frame rate anymore. But this isn't just for the pan as well. This also works for the truck as well. Let's say you're moving base and you want to go from one plot to another. You load up your truck with all of your items and away you go. Well, you won't have those terrible frame drops we had before when you're loading up your truck with loads of resources. Okay, so picture this. You're trying to fill out an order for someone in Bridgeport. They want an iron dagger, but you've accidentally made the mistake of filling your crucible, which already had gold in it, with iron. Now, what currently happens in the game is it will just delete all of that iron. But instead, now in this quality of life fix, what will happen is the iron will just not get deleted, but will not get smelted. So you'll be able to pour out that gold into a gold bar and continue using that crucible to create your iron bar for that iron dagger. Another annoying thing that happens in Hydroneer that we're solving with this patch is when you've got a magnet and you're trying to put resources into a pan. You may have experienced this when you're picking up resources and putting them in a pan, but then your magnet still picks up the resources in the pan while you're trying to grab more resources. Now, when you use the magnet to place something in a pan, it will lock to that pan and you won't be able to pick up that item out of the pan until you tip it out again. Free placing is something in Hydroneer that not all players know about. When you hold down the E key, which is the pick up and drop key, whatever item you're holding will be kind of sent out in front of you a little bit. This makes it easier to then place that item down in the ground. You can also use the RT and Y key to rotate this item, but we've added in 2 cool new things for this mechanic. The first thing is you're able to use your mouse scroll wheel to move that item further and back towards you. The other thing is when you are trying to put one of these shard bars into a pressure tank when the pressure tank is vertical, it can be a little bit finicky. So we've changed the way that collision works with this interaction and now it is far easier. Another thing we've done is completely overhaul vehicle handling in the game. When you're in the truck, if you want to exit out of the left or right side, all you need to do is angle your camera in that direction. This also works for jumping in the back of the truck as well. If you angle your camera to the rear of the vehicle, you'll exit out of the rear standing in the back of the truck. These quality of life features are just a few of the many things coming in the free patch that lands for the base game on April 5th. For the past few weeks, we have been hosting a closed beta for the DLC. We've been trying to get feedback as well as making changes that are in direct response from reactions from these community members. And so far, the closed beta has been going great. These testers from the community have been saying that the DLC feels like the same game, but a brand new flavor. And that is exactly the type of thing that I was trying to go for with this DLC. But of course, there was some points in the DLC that we had to improve on. So we've added in some new features just based off of the feedback that we had from the DLC. For example, the hauler crane could only really go down into about tier 1 in length from the top level. So we've made it so the hauler can actually lower the crane all the way down to right at the bottom of tier 3. Another thing players were talking about was dig sites and the amount of dig sites. Now, we actually have a bit of a technical limitation with how many dig sites we can have and how big they can be. But with the DLC, we feel like we've got a happy medium of just the right amount of dig sites. We want to be careful not to add in too many dig sites, otherwise the DLC will feel a bit bloated. Plus, from our experience, players don't really use any more than 3 dig sites. So it's important for us to make sure the game doesn't can get really laggy by having way too many dig sites that the players aren't going to use. The brand new dig site is called Lumberton Bluff, and it sits just above the harbor that the player enters into at the start of the DLC. Since I haven't really been through all the dig sites on the video yet, these are all of the dig sites that are going to be in the DLC, including the new one that I just mentioned. The first one is Dawn Rest. This is the first dig site that the players come to. Think of it as your kind of Ember Cradle of this DLC. You've got Scoria Chamber, that's kind of like Mildew's Aquifer but with lava. You've got Waterside, a really big dig site right next to the water, kind of in between a few towns. It's my personal favorite. Next is Cinder Footing. It's got loads of lava around it and it's right at the base of the volcano. And of course, you've got Shattered Breach, a dig site that's right next to the town but quite far from other towns. We wanted to make sure that there's pros and cons to each dig site, and we feel like they're quite balanced in both their locations and the features nearby. One big feedback point from the testers is also that they wanted something really expensive to buy as kind of like a stretch goal. When you've completed all of the Steam achievements and main quest lines, it kind of gives players something else to achieve. So this Volcalidus Peak Trophy sitting at just under 100,000 tokens works out pretty nicely for that. I do have a couple more things to tell you guys about that is coming with this DLC. Number one is the new digging vehicle. In Bastion, we have got the Hydroneer vehicle, but in the Volcalidus DLC, we have got the Lava Thor. This is a really cool tank-tracked vehicle with lava cannons on the side. I mean, look at it, it's got lava cannons on the frickin' side. And one more cool feature I'm gonna be talking about today is snowball fights. In various locations across Volcalidus, you'll find small piles of snowballs. You're able to pick these up and throw them, but if you throw one at a NPC, they'll actually throw one back at you. So those are some of the things coming in this DLC. Now, obviously, I haven't spoken about everything in the DLC as to not spoil it, so do be aware there is quite a lot more features than what I've mentioned in the last couple videos. I hope you guys are excited as we are for this DLC. Thanks so much for watching. Wishlist the DLC right now, link in description. It's going to launch for $10 on April 5th. Thanks for watching everyone, and I will see you all in the next video.